So the last time that we spoke about the Minor Arcana, I'd covered the elemental correspondences of the 4 suits. Each suit has 10 number cards, and then it has 4 court cards. The court cards are cards with images of people on them, usually something like princess, prince, queen, and king, or page, knight, queen, and king. Today we're going to look at the numerology, you could say, of the numbered cards to understand how each of them, just like each suit represents one element, one dimension of your life, and it is meant to help you assess the issue of balance in your life in that element. Then each of the numbered cards represents a different state or condition of balance in that element. And I'm going to use some visual aids here. So to start with, you have the number 1, the ace. And the ace of a suit represents the beginning. This is a situation when you are in that area, in that element, initiating something new, and there is this great intensity of raw energy, of raw activity in that area. Nothing is defined yet, and so everything is open, and it represents just this untapped, undirected force in that area. It can be a very chaotic situation, but it's also a situation that's full of raw potential. This becomes a bit more focused in the 2. From the oneness, you get a division into 2 basic forms. So this is the process of analyzing, the process of observing and trying to sort out that raw energy. So you're not yet acting, but now you're defining distances and terms. When you've got the 2 card, that's a symbol of a time to plan and a time to organize. The number 3 card means that that division has now created a thesis, an antithesis, and now a synthesis, and you're ready to move forward. So it's the number of action. The 1 is pure desire, intent. The 2 is structuring, organizing, and the 3 is acting on that structure. So the 3 card means that you're now beginning to actually act on this raw energy. And then the 4 is when you've now created something, you've established yourself. So the 4 is the end of the first triangle, and it's the beginning of the second trinity of the numbers, and it's a sign of stability. It means you've begun to accomplish things. This is a number that will come up in the context of having laid foundations, created stability. But if it lingers for too long, then it can also indicate that there's a stuckness, that you're getting stuck at the beginning and there's no more movement after you've laid those foundations down. Then 5 comes in when you disrupt the balance of the 4, that foundation, and now create a new impetus. It's the second wave, but it's incomplete. So it's a risky situation. It's a number that is out of balance. You're not in the stability of the 4, and you're not really in harmony yet. So you're pushing beyond what you've already made, but you're in an inherently unstable situation because of that. And it could be that there won't be enough energy there for you to actually create prosperity. Prosperity is the 6. when you have the number 6, then that is it's the balance point of the entire sequence of 1 to 10. It's where you've already completed all of the initial stage, and now you're at the point of momentum and regular harmony. It's really the ideal number. It means that you're balanced, and things are still fresh, and things are still working, and there isn't any imbalance either towards one direction or the other. So if the 5 is a kind of imbalance, then the 7 is also a kind of imbalance. It means that there's now an excess of energy. There's an excessive effort going on in what you're doing there, and things are beginning to destabilize. Often what the 6 is that sense of momentum, of being in the moment, where things are working naturally. And sooner or later, people will have the tendency, out of fear of losing that harmony, of trying to do stuff, excessive stuff, to maintain that harmony. So they'll be trying too hard, and that's what the 7 represents. This leads to the 8. The 8, like the 4, is a number of stability, but it's a stability that has already gone past its prime. Instead of having a natural momentum, a natural harmony, which is represented by the 6, with the 8, you have a situation where you've overcomplicated things, and you've created an artificial reality instead of an actual reality. Instead of really being in the moment and really experiencing that things are working, you've made all of this enormous effort, and you've created this artificial situation that looks like it's working and might work for some time, but only while you're keeping up this momentum. When you're in that 8 situation, the only viable solutions are either to simplify massively, to cut down some of the stuff that you've done and go back towards the basics, or to recognize that you've gotten past the productive part of what you've been doing at this time and move forward towards the end stage. The end stage is the 9. And so the 9 is also a positive and harmonious situation usually, but it means that what you're doing now is coming to the end. You've got this new momentum of finishing things. Usually when you start something new, you're full of energy because it's that enthusiasm of the new. And then after a while, things get kind of stuck and complicated until you get to where you've gotten past that complication and into this natural momentum, this natural motion. And that'll work well for quite a while until suddenly that disconnects as well. And then you've got a chaotic situation or a forced situation or an artificial situation until you get to the point where you're finishing. And then when you finish, you get this new burst of energy again. It's like running a race, that towards the last moments you'll put this final effort into it, and you'll get this new rush of energy because you're near the finish line. So that's the kind of motion that the 9 represents. And it's a positive motion unless you're really resisting coming to the end of things. And then it can become a very sour kind of energy. And finally, you have the 10. And the 10 basically means that it's already over. What you're doing is finished. And you're in a situation that may have accomplished things for you if you've done them right. And it may have produced positive results. But lingering at it now is not going to serve any purpose. It's a dead object that you're living in at this point. And the purpose of the 10 would be to signal it's time to shift out of what you've done, let it go, and start again with the 1. So these numbers are cyclical. And each point represents a different stage of where you're at as far as how you're putting your energy into that dimension. In the discs, the material dimension, in the swords, into your intellect, the cups, your emotions, and the wands, into your energy.